Today we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action and send our love and support to their families.
When we saw the US F-15 fighter jets tumbling down from the skies and the US CENTCOM was struggling to explain whether they had been brought down by friendly Kuwaiti fire or by Iranian missiles, it was clear that the US doesn't know how to end this war it started with Iran. And now on the African front, which is more of an observer, is picking sides. Africa is divided into many different regions, and we have seen already the Horn of Africa is siding with the Gulf states, especially the monarchs of Kuwait, Oman, Jordan, all those Gulf states. The Horn of Africa, countries like Somalia and Ethiopia are siding with them. Again, consider that these Gulf states provide a lot of remittances to these African countries since they have many of their citizens working in those regions. And so they submit a lot of their monies or remittances in terms of dollars coming from those regions. The other region is the East African region, especially countries like Kenya, which condemn the Iranian strikes on these Gulf states. The president of Kenya, President Ruto, has condemned the regionalization of conflict as a threat to international peace. He has even condemned Iran for attacking the Gulf states, but at the same time has not condemned the attacks on Iran by Israel and the US. Well, the reason being that Kenya is aligned to the US, and it is clear that it expects the US to win this conflict. In case the US and Israel loses, Kenya will be in a bad place. Now going to the western part of Africa, countries like Nigeria, Gambia, Ghana, those ones are taking a neutral role, and they're even urging for de-escalation, considering that these countries work in cooperation with the US and benefit in terms of trade, and they have even closer relationships with the US, especially Nigeria, which even the US is recently building military bases to fight Islamic militants in the north. And so they do not want to ruin this camaraderie or this close relationship with the US. And hence they have taken a neutral position and even urging for de-escalation. Now moving to the south, we have countries like South Africa that outrightly is outspoken and doesn't really care about the opinion of the US. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa had told the US that attacking Iran is violation of Article 51 that prevents for the anticipatory strike on other countries. And there's no law that claims that or suggests that country can engage in anticipatory strikes on other countries to prevent a major war breaking out, just like it happened in this US-Israeli doctrine of attacking Iran to prevent imminent attacks from the same. And he has even been joined by his counterpart in West Africa, Ousmane Sonko, the Prime Minister of Senegal, who has also come out clearly saying that the US attack on Iran was uncalled for. Clearly, in these countries of Africa, you see they have their own interests when dealing with Iran, the US, and Israel. And their main interests are the use of ports, especially the Red Sea ports, the remittances that come from the Gulfs, and of course, security that they get from the US and sometimes Israel. And so they would like to align with all these countries. Considering that these African countries are also prone to terrorist attack by militants in case they suggest that or they suspect that they align with these Western powers, especially the US. And so they would fear that militants like the Houthis would attack the region if it seems that a country is strongly opposed to maybe Iran. Hence, most of these African countries are trying to take sides, but hoping that the side of the US and Israel win, as it will guarantee their safety, security, and stabilization, and also to allow their citizens to continue working in the Middle East and bring their remittances